Alrighty, I am here at Chevrolet Carl Black here in Murfreesboro Road, and I'm going to review the other trim levels of the Chevrolet Impala. This one's the 4-cylinder, get back to that in a second. So this one has the V6. The V6 down here, because it's the non-Premier. The V6 is going to be down here. I'll get to the Premier in a second. But this one I believe is the 2019 1LS sedan. But as you can see just a little bit, the interior is a different color, shaded color, just like a little tan-ish. No, not tan, kind of a grayish. It still does have push button ignition to start, but I'm not for sure if you can tell since the doors are locked. And excuse me for the noise, I'm right next to a little busy little side street. The climate controls are slightly different. It's like a big chunk. All you have is the, you still have push button start. The climate control is different. The far left one is for the fan speed and the far right one is for the temperature gauge. The reason why there's two different is because it doesn't have a dual zone. This to me looks like hubcaps, and they are. Obviously, even though this is just the 1LS, this is also equipped with flex fuel, E85 ethanol. I guess the black mirrors, I just noticed just now looking at it, the black mirrors is slightly different. Now we're gonna take a look at this red V6 Impala. Let's see what trim level this is. This is the outlet wheels. I believe it's the same one on mine as well. But this is actually a 2020 Impala 1LT sedan with the 3.6 V6, 6-speed automatic, and this one's at 32 grand. You looking at the Impalas? All right, cool. The customer is now looking at the Impala, so we're actually gonna skip that other V6, and we're gonna go to the Premier one real quick. They just started up that V6. That's brand new as well. So let's look at the Premier. This is slightly different from the other Premiers. The front fascia is slightly different. The wheels are larger than the 1LT trim level right here. And it's a different overall package. So just like that 1LS, this has chrome mirrors, but this is the Premier. Got chrome trim outlet throughout here. Different door handles. This is the 2020 Premier sedan with the same 3.6, but this is one at 40 grand. So let's look on the inside. So you got nice bowl systems right here. Nice plat right here. You have memory seats as well. These seats in the Premier trim level is 100% more comfortable than the 1LT, and I'm pretty sure also the same goes for the 1LS. You also have heated steering wheel. The climate control is the same. CD player. So it may not seem that much, but the comfort in these seats are just on a different level than you get in the 1LT trim level. From my point of view, that's how you pop open your trunk, get your parking sensor and lane departure right here as well. You got your cruise control, so you got the little gap right here, right next to the heated steering wheel, so this is slightly different. And also you got a nice little panoramic roof as well. And that's pretty much it for the inside. I'm gonna pop the hood since this is a V6. 3.6 variable valve timing, direct injection. That's 305 brake horsepower and 264 foot-pounds of torque. And this thing is made to 6-speed automatic gearbox, the exact same in the 4-cylinder as well. For some odd reason, for the Premier, the V6 badge is actually up here versus like I just showed you in the 1LT and the 1LS. The V6 is down over here for some odd reason, and then it's paired up to the Premier badging up here. So I guess it goes all in one little line together. Also with the Premier, you got little exhaust tips back here, which are not really functional, but dual exhaust, like actual back there. 20-inch wheels, that's very nice. Open and loosening the comfort of the ride, because this is actually a very comfortable ride. And this is also 2020 minus 2019. Same seats, same pretty much everything in here. I'll go more in depth into my 4-cylinder. Turn that off. Yeah, so the 2020 Impala 1LT is at $31,000. Actually, just noting that 4-cylinder Impala has pretty much a similar engine as this Chevrolet Malibu, and actually that Impala still rides on this old Malibu's platform versus the 9th generation Malibu I've reviewed. Let's see the difference between 2015 and 2019. So you got a little wood, little trim right here. The door's pretty much still the same. You got the wood trim all over here as well. Nice and quiet. You don't have your heated steering right here, but you still have your forward collision. The steering wheel's the same. Gauge cluster's the same. The screen's the same. Nothing wrong with it. CD player. Bring up and down the screen right here, which comes in handy. The wood trim, I do kind of like it. Kind of reminds me just a little bit of the 300 I just reviewed, and you do have just the heated seats, so you're not really missing much if you go down to 2015. Same engine, it's got 42,000 miles. Looks pretty nice. Alrighty, so it's now time for me to start off my review of the 2019 Chevrolet Impala 1LT. Now, I did choose this Impala, the 1LT trim level, and also the one with the 4-cylinder as well, because we have plenty of V6s. The 4-cylinder has been dropped, and I do want to review mainly about the engine. I already showed you guys the interior of the V6 and the V6 Premier, and also the 2015, which was a surprise. But nonetheless, it is time for this 4-cylinder real quick. So here's the key for the Chevrolet Impala. So the reason they give you this key, even though it's like a key you could probably put in the ignition, is because I think the lower trim level, so like 2015s, you could actually insert the key. But this one is actually push button ignition as well. So as you normally work out, just hit the lock button and the hold, the little circle down here, and the engine turns on. And then obviously you can turn it off as well by just hitting that same button. So everything inside the car is still the same. I forgot to mention in the Premier, this little whole trim level right here eliminates, it's like a light green, light bluish color. So for the other options that was here, the actual trunk release was actually right over here. So it kind of changed the layout. So now the trunk is all the way to the right. I guess to make it not void. You still got this huge little gap right here, but not for sure. No need to spend too much time wondering why. Your little storage compartment right there. You got your electronic parker brake right here as well. That's how you pop open the hood, which I will pop open the hood and leave it open real quick. I'll get to the engine in a second. So I have no heated steering wheel, no forward collision over here. So this is also blank as well, just for this trim level. Now with the LS, that one did not have dual zone. So this still have the little circle knobs here, and you still have the AC button, obviously. These little slots right here, these little four little where you want the air to blow out of, were slightly larger. And then you have the fan speed, I believe, right here, and the temperature gauge right here. Also, you don't have a place to put your sunglasses, so just to let you guys know that. Nice little side mirrors right here. They do also extend. The 300 did this as well. Some cars don't do that. So, me being 6'9", I can actually fit in here. Long distance, this is okay for leg room. However, I do want to go back on that Premier. Those seats in the Premier Impala are just completely fantastic. These, I remember going to California with my mother and my sister, and we actually rented this trim level Impala for like 3 days with the V6. And overall, I mean, long distance to me, it's not really that comfortable. Everything looks the same in this 1LT trim versus the V6 1LT trim. The only noticeable difference is the gauge cluster right here. When you have the 4-cylinder, you have the auto stop start system. So when the vehicle is on, when the vehicle turns off for auto stop, then obviously the needle would have stopped down right here. But when you turn off the vehicle, it will stop at the auto stop and then drop back down, which is kind of funny. Usually some cars would just like automatically go all the way straight down. So what I'm gonna do is actually go ahead and sit in the passenger seat. You got your seat controls right here. This is where you can just recline the seat forward, and it kind of goes almost like a 45-degree angle. You can adjust the height of it. No need to push it down and pull it back up. So it's not fully electronic. Pull forward up for the rest. But when you get comfortable, like I'm getting comfortable right now, I have superior leg room. I'll get back in the back in a second, but let's just say it's just 2 people in the car. I'm not driving. Some of my height sitting here. Oh yeah, I just got plenty of free room across my legs. This is fantastic. Some trim levels, you have the heated seats only, and the Premier, you have the heated and ventilated seats. But right here, you just have your traction control button on and off. I forgot to show you guys, sadly, the Premier and this little slot right here, you can have the option of charging up your phone wirelessly. So I forgot to show you guys that. My apologies. No USB storage right here, but you do have a little container right here, I guess, put the change or whatnot, and it's removable, so if you don't need it. And this has to be one of the worst access points ever to insert a USB. It doesn't matter if you're tall, short, no matter your race or religion. It doesn't matter. It's just gonna be so difficult for you to get a USB unless you're like the passenger. 12-volt outlet socket down right here where my finger is pointing at. It's very difficult getting in there. I'm not for sure why it's in that position, but it's there. It's got two of them. Now it is time to go in the back. So hopping in here, obviously if I put the seat up forward some more, then I will be okay. But if I sit up straight, obviously this is the type of car I had to kind of slouch in just a little bit, but it's not as cramped as the 300 that I just tested recently. You do have a little place for your bottles on the door. And you do have vents right here, and you only have one little 12-volt outlet back here. Now, coulda, woulda, shoulda. Sadly, I did not go back in the back seats of the Premier or the other one LT trim level. Every time I go to the dealership, I don't want to overstay my welcome, ever. You put down this center armrest, and you do have two cup holders as well. You can fold the seats down. I believe just pulling this right here, and it goes down pretty much flat. And for some odd reason, in the Chevrolet Malibu, you don't have a button to open up the trunk inside the cabin. But this, you can. And when you press it once, just like that, it opens up the trunk immediately. You can also open up the trunk by holding the button on the key fob, just like some other cars as well. And it opens all the way up, just for you. So now, after I just got through putting the seats down, you have plenty of storage space back here. This is where you can also operate the battery back here as well. Just let me open that up. There you have it. Also, look underneath here, you do have a spare tire back here as well, so that is nice. This is a full size. No, still some small donut. This thing is at least long enough for this thing has huge amount of space back here. I'm really impressed by it. This is a good full size car. All right, so it is now time to look underneath the hood real quick. Now this shows you underneath the hood of another Chevrolet Impala. That was actually the Premier. This engine obviously looks completely different. The V6 had 305 brake horsepower and also 264 foot-pound of torque. And that V6 was a variable valve timing V6. This is actually the 4-cylinder, the Inline-4, 2.5 liters of it, dual overhead cam. And this actually has 197 horsepower and 191 foot-pounds of torque. So that is a significant amount of horsepower and torque difference in this car. But I have to say, I am very impressed with the 4-cylinder engine itself. It has the same 6-speed automatic gearbox as it is in the V6. And I get some more of that in the drive dynamics. But right now at the back, this one, the 2.5 liter 4-cylinder, is similar to the one in the Acadia, but it's more quiet and less vibration than it is in the Acadia. Not implying that the Acadia rattles and stuff like that, but there's a significant difference. So that is the whole exterior and interior of the Chevrolet Impala. And when this was new, 2019, this is it. It's Summit White. That's the white color right here. And the exterior color is jet black. 2.5 liter 4-cylinder with a 6-speed automatic, and the total vehicle price of this one is brand new, $31,000. So that's actually not so bad. So if you find one of these, you better not pay a penny more over $31,000. All right, it is time to go for a quick drive in the 4-cylinder Impala. The 4-cylinder is completely dead. The V6 still lives on, I guess, for like another month or so. I'm not for sure the exact month production is going to stop with the Chevrolet Impala, but it was a good run. That's all I can say. It was a good run. Same thing for the Taurus as well. Foot on the brake. Now I do commend this engine a lot, but I'll have to say when you start up the vehicle, you do feel the engine vibrate. So that's kind of weird for me to say that the engine itself doesn't vibrate, but stationary, you do feel the vehicle vibrate. As opposed to the GMC Acadia, where you're idling, I didn't feel any vibration. So that's kind of a weird tune. The 2019 GMC Acadia is equipped with 2 engines. The 2.5 liter 4-cylinder, similar to this. 6-speed automatic gearbox. I'm not for sure it's the same 6-speed automatic gearbox. Don't quote me on that. And also a 3.6 liter V6. The V6 in the Impala is different from the one in other GM products because the one with the Impala is flex fuel. But what I'm getting at with this is, like I stated earlier in the GMC Acadia video, the GMC Acadia is pretty much just a wagon version of this, just lifted up. That's what it feels like to me. Now, driving along in this, you do hear a little road noise, just a tad bit. This isn't like a high-end luxury car. This is just a full-size car, so it's not trying to be anything spectacular, honestly. Now I'm stationary at a stop sign. Now the engine has turned off for the auto stop system. Let go of the brake and obviously the engine will turn on. And when you do that, you do feel just a tad bit of vibration as well, just a tad bit. The best part is when you're driving the darn thing, the engine is so smooth and so quiet that I have not driven a rotary vehicle before, but this makes me want to drive a rotary vehicle and see the comparisons between how smooth the engine is. I mean, this vehicle is just, it doesn't scream and holler, and it does its job well. Handling is pretty good as well for a full-size car like this. Only downside about this car is sadly the 6-speed automatic gearbox. There's nothing wrong with having a 6-speed automatic gearbox. I should have shown you guys in the Mazda CX-5 review. That gearbox was just, it kept the engine just in the right RPMs. It didn't hesitate whatsoever. This one, however, it just feels sluggish. It pulls the car down, just slows the car down just a little bit. Sometimes if you want to try to accelerate, it will hunt for a gear, and you just kind of miss your opportunity, and it just kind of just drains the engine. It just puts the engine underneath a lot of stress. With this 4-cylinder and the V6 as well. 197 horsepower, 191 foot-pound of torque may not seem like a lot for a full-size car. This is actually naturally aspirated. No turbos, no superchargers, no nothing. But if you're just one person in this car, it can do the job just fine. And it's kind of weird, even if I'm showing some other drivers with me as well while I'm driving these Impalas during work, it doesn't feel like it needs more power. This is why it reminds me of the GMC Acadia. The 4-cylinder is very capable. Just a little hum, but there's nothing, I don't feel anything. It's just so smooth. The engine is so gosh darn smooth. That's why I'm impressed with this 4-cylinder. It's just let down by the 6-speed. And the brakes in this is actually pretty spot on. I really do love the brakes. I'm pretty sure this car could have got better miles per gallon if it was for the 6-speed. I wonder how it been paired up with a CVT transmission or with just a 9-speed automatic gearbox. We'll never know, sadly. But they should put this engine in the Malibus. I do have more confidence driving the Impala versus the 300. I am currently using my GPS directly from my phone instead of the Android Auto on the display because it's very slow and dim-witted, which I do not like. Also, this Infotainment Center is actually different from like the Malibu. This is actually pulled straight pretty much from the Tahoe and the Suburban. We're gonna turn off the dome lights, but here it is, the Impala at night. Now this little strip throughout right here, this will illuminate if you have the Premier model. Also about the auto starts is when the vehicle is off and when it does this on the freaking hill, this car might roll back. When you lift your foot off the brake, for some reason it's like the brakes still are not fully applied, so you'll roll back just a little bit like a manual car. That's a no-go for me. Well, embarrassingly, I forgot my stand, so I had to actually hold the camera. So the camera is moving just a little bit. That's actually my hand moving as well. So I apologize about that. It's sad that this another full-size sedan is leaving the market along with the Ford Taurus, but I picked up this 1LT trim with the 4-cylinder, and here's my point of view about this one. Overall, it's just a basic full-size sedan, nothing outlandish. It's just a run-of-the-mill. I wouldn't dare call it a benchmark full-size sedan. It's just a car, a large car. And the engine is the reason why I picked this model. I believe it's a very refined, smooth, naturally aspirated 4-cylinder. I think it's one of the best I've driven. It is so, to me, it puts the Camry's 4-cylinder, which is similar to the RAV4's 4-cylinder, to shame. That thing just howls. This thing, I need to drive a rotary engine to really get a comparison about it. And if you're really into cars like that, I would try to hunt for this 4-cylinder Impala and just drive around just a little bit. I did mention that when you're idling at a, when you're sitting still idling, there is vibration throughout the vehicle. The GMC Acadia does not have that. It's a problem. The 6-speed is what lets it down, but yet again, it's not because it is a 6-speed automatic gearbox. The Mazda, as I reviewed earlier, also has a 6-speed automatic gearbox, which is fantastic. So the gearing on this is letting the car down. The seats are very comfortable in the Premier Impala. So if you're really looking for an Impala, I would just go all out for the V6 Impala, get the Premier trim level if all possible. A good, perfect car for that son or daughter going to college. The athlete. Doesn't matter if your son's in football or your daughter is in volleyball, whichever sport he or she is playing, this is like the perfect car for the athlete. All that room in the trunk, man, that is pretty surprising as well. And it's comfortable, it can fit 5 large adults. This is the car I was talking about, that this engine and this Impala should be in the Malibu. I will grant it that the 1.5 does pack a little punch because it is turbocharged and this is naturally aspirated, but I would prefer the naturally aspirated without the punch, with that smooth and refined engine. That's gonna put the Toyota Camry to shame. My name is Omar. From my point of view, thank you so much for watching.